Today's story is fully about a woman who was a doctor. She was a veterinarian, which means a doctor for animals. She wanted to buy a ram for the al-Adha sacrifice. That year she had a special idea. She decided to buy the ram early and keep it in her home. She wanted to be ready for the coming Eid. She went with her husband to a livestock market. The doctor tells the story in her own words. As soon as we entered the market and reached the sheep section, I liked what I saw and started walking around looking for a suitable ram. While we were moving around and checking the sheep, my eyes fell on a strange-looking ram. It was not good-looking at all. You could even say it looked scary. Its color was deep black. Its eyes looked slightly red. But what shocked me the most was that it was staring straight at me. It was as if it was calling me and saying, "I am your ram. Take me with you." In that market, all the sheep were normal. Some were eating, others were sleeping. They all looked calm and ordinary. Except for that ram. He did not look like them at all. He was staring only at me. I swear it felt like he was calling me. It was as if he was turning his head on purpose so I would notice him. His eyes were fixed only on me. He looked at me with a sharp, deep stare. He never looked away. Honestly, he scared me. I could not even look at his face for long. I would look at him for just a few seconds, then quickly turn my face away. I went back to walking with my husband, looking for another good ram, but I felt a strange tension growing inside me. Doubt entered my heart. I started talking to myself. No, there is nothing wrong. In the end, he's just a ram, nothing more. Calm down. Do not let your imagination play tricks on you. But at that exact moment, that ram broke free from his place and started following me. Yes, he came and stood right in front of me and began staring straight into my face. My God, what is this? The problem was that his look did not feel safe at all. Honestly, he scared me just by looking at him. His whole body was black with dirt on it. His eyes were red in a frightening way. His horns were huge and clearly curled around his head. For a moment, I felt like I was about to pass out from fear, but then I remembered my children at home and said to myself, no way. This ram would scare the small children. I am a veterinarian. I have seen many animals in my life, but I have never seen a ram like this. He stood in front of me in a strange way. It was as if he was offering himself to me, as if he was saying, "Look at me closely. I am here. Take me instead." The more that ram kept offering himself to us, and the more people tried to pull him away, the more he refused to move from in front of us. I said to myself, "All right, let me check him. Maybe this is meant to be." And when I examined him, I found that he had everything I was looking for. He was young. He was completely healthy. His condition was excellent. I looked at my husband and said, "This is the ram I want." He replied in shock, "Have you lost your mind? In this whole market you found no other ram but this one." I said to him, "Yes, simply. This is my choice." He said back, "Look at him carefully. His whole body is deep black. His eyes are red, like they are filled with blood. On top of that, his horns are strangely huge. He will scare the children and he might even hurt someone." I said to him, "What now? Are we really going to be scared of a ram? Maybe his eyes are just a little infected. That's why they're so red. Did you forget I'm a veterinarian? I'll treat him myself. The ram is healthy and he's in great condition and all the things we were looking for in an Eid sacrifice. Well, we found them in him." My husband said, "All right, as you wish." He went to the seller and asked about the price of the ram, but the man gave us a strange look, like he was shocked or confused that we actually wanted to buy it. Most people who saw the ram didn't want him. That's why the seller had thought about just slaughtering him and selling the meat instead of offering him as a sacrifice. That way, he could still make a good profit. But when he saw that we really did want to buy the ram, he gave us a very high price. As soon as he asked for that price, I felt very upset. I knew my husband would never agree to pay that much. My husband turned to me and said, "See, even his price is very high. Do you really want us to buy him for this amount? We still have 2 full weeks before Eid. We don't have to buy him today. Let's go look somewhere else." I agreed with him, and we both decided to leave the market. But suddenly, I felt something pulling on my bag. When I turned around, I saw that ram following us. He'd grabbed the edge of my bag with his mouth. He stopped me from moving forward, as if he was begging us not to leave, as if he was asking us to take him with us. Honestly, that scene touched something inside me. I felt like I didn't want to leave him behind. It was as if this ram was rejected by everyone. And when we appeared, he began begging us to take him with us. I looked at my husband. He had already turned his eyes away, like he knew exactly what I was about to say. He said to me, "I know you well. I know what you're thinking. But don't you realize we just got rid of him and decided to leave? Let's look somewhere else. We don't have to take him now." Even so, I kept looking at that ram. Then I said, "Please, let's take him." My husband went silent for a moment. Then he turned to me again and said, with no clear expression on his face, "Are you sure?" I answered, "Yes, I'm sure." Poor guy. He went to the seller and paid the full price, and from there we started our way home. But as soon as we reached the building where we lived, strange things started to happen. When we arrived, we wanted to take the elevator, since the building is tall and we live on the 17th floor. That is why we had to go up in the elevator together with the ram. But the moment we tried to bring him inside, it was like the ram had sworn that he would never enter. My husband and I did everything we could to push him in, but it was useless. We could not move him at all, as if some strange force had fixed him in place. After we were completely exhausted and unable to do anything, my husband said to me, "All right, you go up in the elevator, and I'll come after you using the stairs." I looked at him and said, "The 2 of us together couldn't get him into the elevator, and you want me to believe you'll take him up the stairs alone?" I hadn't even finished speaking when we saw the ram turn toward the stairway. He moved his whole body, then stopped and looked at us as if he was saying, "I'm the one who will go up the stairs." We didn't understand anything at that moment. In the middle of our shock, my husband said to me, "All right, now it's easy. You go up and I'll follow you." I took the elevator and pressed the button for the 17th floor. When the elevator arrived and the doors opened, I saw something. Something that shocked me more than anything in my life. The ram was standing right at the door, facing me directly, staring at me without moving. His eyes were red as if they were filled with blood. And my husband, where was my husband? He was not with him. I took one step forward to go out and check if my husband was there, but suddenly the lights in the hallway went out. And in that moment, I started to hear terrifying sounds coming from the direction of the ram. Sounds. The only way I can describe them is so scary. They could drive someone insane. The blood froze in my veins. I didn't know what to do. All I could manage was to rush back inside the elevator and start pressing all the buttons like crazy, just to move, to escape any way I could. I ran downstairs and hurried straight to the building guard. I asked him, "Did you see my husband? Did he just leave?" He said, "No, no one left. You both came in together and he went upstairs." At that moment, I remembered that the ram was standing in front of our apartment door, and my kids were at home. I ran like someone who had been possessed, climbing the stairs with all my strength until I reached the apartment. I opened the door quickly, and there I saw my husband looking at me in confusion, saying, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" The ram was surrounded by my kids, who were sitting next to him. In that moment, my heart started to calm down a little. Then my husband said, "Come look at the kids. Poor things are stuck to me." That ram scared them and they don't even dare to go near the balcony. Believe me. I didn't answer him. I pretended I didn't hear anything. I was still shaken by what I had just gone through. Those 5 minutes I lived felt like months of pure fear. I said to him, "Look, tell me, where were you?" I reached our floor by elevator and I found that ram right in front of me. You were not with him. My blood froze from fear. My husband said to me, "That ram, there is something not normal about him." I was going up the stairs with him and at first he was climbing normally, but suddenly he rushed forward at a crazy speed like lightning. He became unbelievably fast. I couldn't catch up to him. When I arrived a few moments later, out of breath and exhausted, I found him standing on the 17th floor, right in front of our apartment door. Believe me, this ram is not normal. I feel deep inside that there is something dark and frightening about him. While my husband was telling me what happened, my eyes would sometimes move toward that ram. I felt fear eating me from the inside, but I showed nothing. I was afraid that my children might feel scared too. I said to him, "Enough. What happened has already happened. Put him in the balcony and tie him there. Let him stay in that place." That day passed as God willed, but I kept watching him from a distance. I never took my eyes off him. I was afraid he might do something strange. Until that day came. It was time for Maghrib. The call to prayer had just been made. I finished my prayer and remembered to give him water to drink. When I entered the balcony to bring it to him, I saw something unbelievable. He was sitting the way a human sits. The bucket fell from my hand without me even realizing it. I screamed in terror, then ran out of the balcony shaking all over. Before we continue the story, if this is your first time watching me, don't forget to subscribe and don't let this story stop with you. Share it with your friends. And now, let's continue. I dropped the bucket of water without even realizing it, and I screamed from pure fear, then ran out of the balcony, terrified. My husband came running and said, "Are you okay? Are the kids okay? What happened?" I told him, "I saw the ram sitting like a human." My husband's eyes widened and he quickly went to the balcony to look through the glass. He saw the ram leaning against the wall of the balcony, standing on his back legs. He came back to me and said, "God forgive you. You scared me. Sheep sometimes stand like that when they're trying to jump." I said to him, "No, I know what I saw. He wasn't just leaning on the wall. He was sitting exactly like a human." My husband said to me, "It's normal. Even I honestly feel scared of him sometimes. But most likely everything you saw was just an illusion or imagination. Don't think too much about it." I sought protection in God from Satan and tried not to think about it. But the truth is, his behavior had been strange from the very beginning, until that day came. I was standing in the kitchen preparing lunch when I suddenly heard my young children screaming. I dropped whatever was in my hands and rushed to them to see what was happening. I entered the room and found them terrified, sitting and crying hard. I asked them, "What happened? What's wrong?" They said to me, "That ram is crazy. He was looking at us through the window, making strange and scary movements. He was staring at us with his eyes and they were redder than ever before. Then he stuck out his tongue, like he was mocking us and laughing at us. What is this?" Maybe his strange look scared them, and the children started imagining things that were not real. I sat with them and tried to calm them down a little. Then I went back to the kitchen to finish what I was doing, but after only about 20 minutes I heard the screaming again. This time, it was louder and worse than before. I didn't know what to do. I ran to them as fast as I could. I found my children in a hysterical state, crying in a terrifying and unnatural way. I started screaming too. "What is happening? What's wrong?" They said to me, "Mom, that ram talked to us. He talked to us and said he would kill us. He said it in his own voice. 'I will kill you all.'" At that moment, I began to feel real terror. It got worse every time I looked at him. His appearance alone was enough to send chills through my body. especially those red eyes, as if they were soaked in blood. Just looking at them made my whole body shake. At first I planned to treat him, but my fear grew so strong that I couldn't even get close to him. I even started throwing food to him from the window, just so I wouldn't have to face him directly. While I was lost in my thoughts, suddenly my children jumped and screamed, "Mom, behind you! Behind you!" I froze and turned around quickly. There he was, standing behind me, staring at me with a fixed look. My children looked completely shocked, screaming in fear. But the question that made my blood run cold was this: what was this ram doing behind me? How did he get inside? I was sure I had locked the door on him. How did he open it? Or was it me? And I just forgot. He was looking at me in a very strange way. It was not the look of an animal. It was a human look, aware, intentional, and terrifying. I forced him back into the balcony. Then I locked the door myself with the key and made sure it was fully locked. That day, I stayed close to my children. The day passed peacefully. Night came. We had dinner and sat together for a while. Then my husband received a phone call, and it was not good news. His young cousin had become very sick. His condition was extremely serious. The doctors even doubted that he would survive. The news shocked all of us. My husband stood up quickly and went straight to his uncle's house. When my husband left and closed the door behind him, I stood there and said to myself, "Oh God, please let this night pass safely." Then I looked toward the balcony. Since I was alone with my children and that ram, I suddenly remembered. Did I feed him today? I noticed him sniffing the ground and searching, and I realized he was starting to feel hungry, but I found that the hay was completely finished. I said to the children, "I'll go out quickly to buy hay, and I'll be back within just 1 hour. They all rushed to say, "No, no, no. There's no way we'll stay alone in the house with this ram. Don't leave us alone with him. Just look at the way he stares at us. It's like there's hatred in his eyes." I didn't know what to say. I could see they were truly terrified. So I took them with me. On our way back, they said to me, "Mom, let's go to Grandma's house and spend the night there." I said to them, "No, you can't sleep over there tonight, but I will take you to her house and you can stay there until 6 in the evening. Then you will come back home." They said to me, "All right. The important thing is that we don't stay with that ram." In the morning, I took the children to their grandmother's house and left them there. Then I went back home because I had some things I needed to do. I went up by elevator. When I reached my floor, I was shocked to see that my apartment door was open. I pushed it slowly and carefully. The moment I stepped inside, I was hit by a terrible shock. I screamed so loudly that everyone in the building heard me. What I saw that day was terrifying in every sense of the word. A strange man was lying on the bathroom floor, a lifeless body. The police arrived and started the investigation. It turned out that the man was a thief who had broken into the house to steal. But the strange thing was this: the man was in perfect health, yet he died from a sudden heart attack after being exposed, it seems, to a terrifying shock that made his heart stop instantly. This was clear from his frozen, horrified facial expression before he died. His face looked like someone who had seen something so terrifying that his heart simply could not keep beating. After this incident, I started thinking and said to myself, yes, he was a thief. But what did he see inside my apartment that made him die like that? Then I remembered. There was nothing in the house except that ram. I went to check on him. I found him standing at the balcony looking outside. His sight scared me again. I threw food to him from a distance and locked the door tightly. I sat alone in the house. Fear was eating me from the inside. I whispered to myself, I have to leave this place. I got dressed and went out. Then I headed to the elevator to go down. The elevator in our building was surrounded by mirrors on all sides. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked terrible. My eyes were red and my face was pale. I couldn't hold it anymore. I started crying, and I kept crying alone, in silence. Then the light in the elevator started turning off and on by itself. At that moment, I felt that something was not normal. It felt like something was moving in the place, even though it could not be seen. Then suddenly, the light came back on normally. I took a deep breath and slowly turned my head, but I saw something strange. I said to myself, maybe I'm just imagining things. I looked at my reflection in the mirror, and the shock was this. I was moving, but my reflection was not moving at all. I started seeking protection from Satan, but my reflection in the mirror did not move its mouth, did not speak, did not do anything. It was frozen, silent. I stepped back in pure terror, staring at my reflection, while it stared back at me, unblinking, with a hard, focused, terrifying look. Then, after a few moments, the reflection started talking to me. It said, "I know you very well. I came to help you. Don't be afraid of me. I came to save you from the disaster you brought into your home. What you brought into your house is a catastrophe." I said, shaking with fear. "What are you talking about?" It said, "You know exactly what I mean. That ram you brought into the house, that creature is stopping me from entering your home. Haven't you understood yet? It is dangerous to you." My tongue froze. I could no longer speak. I was overwhelmed by shock and fear. Then she said to me, "I came only to warn you. That ram must not stay in your house. If you keep him, you and your entire family will die." The trembling words came out of my mouth. "Why?" She screamed in my face, saying, "Get that cursed thing out of your house. We cannot get close to it, and you have no idea what it truly is. Never stay alone in the house while it is there. If you do, you will deeply regret it. You will witness something worse than death." Then she said, "And now, I must go." And she disappeared from the mirror.